The camera flashes were blinding. Reporters shouted questions, microphones thrust forward, and the billionaire, Adrian Wolf, smiled for the world as if he owned it. In a way, he did. The crowd adored him, investors followed him, and the media worshipped every move he made. Beside him stood Alara, quiet, poised, and fighting to keep her hands from trembling. They'd met in chaos and fallen into something that looked like love but felt like a battlefield. Tonight was supposed to be her first public appearance as his fiancée. But just as the photographer called her name to step closer, Adrian leaned toward her and whispered, "I don't want you in the photos with me." Her breath caught. For a second, she thought she'd misheard. But the coldness in his eyes confirmed she hadn't. "You, what?" she managed, voice shaking. He didn't look at her. "Not now. It's business. You wouldn't understand." The photographer hesitated, sensing tension, but Adrian's assistant waved him to continue. The billionaire's polished smile never faltered as Alara's world cracked silently in front of hundreds of flashing lights. She took a slow step back, her heels clicking against the marble. Her heart thundered in her chest, and yet, something fierce rose inside her. For too long, she had been quiet. For too long, she had been the shadow behind his spotlight. But not tonight. As the cameras rolled, she smiled, a sharp, unshakable smile, and whispered back, "You'll wish I wasn't silent." Then she turned and walked away, leaving the whispers and gasps behind her. The gala continued as if nothing had happened, but Adrian's mind wasn't on the speeches or investors anymore. Every time a glass clinked, he heard her voice. Every time someone laughed, he saw her walking away. Back in her small apartment, Alara sat on the floor, staring at her phone. Her notifications exploded. Pictures, gossip headlines, and cruel comments. The billionaire's fiancé storms out. Trouble in paradise. Who is Alara Gray really? She closed her eyes. The world loved him and doubted her. But what the world didn't know was that everything he built, his latest charity empire, his perfect reputation, had pieces of her work behind it. She'd written the speeches, designed the campaigns, helped him heal from scandals no one even knew existed. And now he wanted her erased from his image. The next morning, the city woke up to chaos. Alara didn't hide. Instead, she posted a video. Her hair was loose, her tone calm but sharp. "When someone tells you you're not good enough to stand beside them," she said softly, "remember, they're only afraid of being seen beside someone who shines differently." It went viral within hours. Millions watched. Comments poured in. #StandWithAlara with Alara trended globally. People weren't mocking her anymore, they were listening. Adrian watched the video from his penthouse, jaw tight. "What is she doing?" he muttered. His PR manager entered cautiously. "Sir, public opinion is turning. People think you humiliated her. Because she's making it sound like I." He stopped, realizing he had. "Get her on the phone." But she didn't answer. Days passed. Alara's name became a symbol. She was invited to speak at women's events, offered interviews, even a publishing deal. Every time she spoke, her voice carried something real, something that money couldn't fake. One night, she stood outside his office building. The lights still burned on the top floor, Adrian's floor. For a long time, she just stared at the skyline, then walked in. The guards recognized her but hesitated. She didn't need permission. She knew every corner of that place. When the elevator doors opened, Adrian was standing there, phone in hand, as if he'd been expecting her. "Alara," he breathed, "you shouldn't be here." "Neither should you," she replied quietly. "You should be somewhere learning humility." He flinched at her tone. "You think humiliating me online is humility?" She took a step closer. "I didn't humiliate you. I told the truth. You whispered that I wasn't good enough to stand next to you, and I decided to stop standing behind you." Adrian exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "You don't understand how this world works. There are investors, brands, reputations." "Stop," she cut him off. "You think power means control. But it's not power if you need to silence someone to feel it." He looked at her, really looked, and saw something he hadn't seen before. Strength. Not arrogance, not bitterness, just strength. "You changed," he murmured. "No," she said. "I just stopped letting you define me." He turned away, hands gripping the desk. "You're right. I said something cruel. But that night, Those cameras, I was scared. I've never been good at people seeing me weak. Her laugh was small but bitter. So you thought pushing me away would make you look stronger. I thought it would protect you. From what? Love, or the world knowing you actually have a heart? Silence hung heavy between them. Outside, the city lights shimmered like witnesses. Finally, he spoke, quieter this time. I don't want to lose you. Alara looked at him. The man who once made her believe love could fix the cracks. You already did, she whispered. You just didn't notice when it happened. She turned to leave, but his hand reached out, trembling slightly, and caught her wrist. For a moment, neither of them moved. Alara, please, I'll make it right. She looked down at his hand, then at his eyes. Then start by admitting it. In front of the world. Not to save your brand, but because it's true. He didn't answer, and she didn't wait. The elevator doors closed between them with a soft chime, but the silence it left was deafening. That week, Adrian disappeared from the headlines. Rumors swirled. Lawsuits, board conflicts, personal issues. But Alara kept moving forward. She launched her own foundation, helping women break into business and media, funded partly by the same sponsors who once chased Adrian's approval. Months later, a charity gala was held in her honor. Cameras flashed again, but this time, she didn't flinch. She stood center stage, confident, graceful. Midway through the event, a familiar figure appeared near the back of the hall. Adrian, dressed simply, no entourage, no press. For once, he looked like a man, not a billionaire. When she finished her speech, he approached her. You look happier, he said softly. I am, she replied. He nodded, swallowing hard. I made a public statement yesterday. Told them what really happened. Told them I was wrong. I know, she said. I saw it. You didn't owe me that, but it was the right thing. I owed it to the truth. He hesitated. And maybe, to love. She smiled faintly. Love doesn't vanish when it's hurt. But it changes form. Sometimes, it grows stronger when it lets go. For a long moment, they stood in the middle of the crowd, surrounded by applause and flashlights, yet completely alone in their silence. Then a reporter called out, Mr. Wolf, can we get a photo of you two together? Adrian's gaze flickered to her. Once, those words would have made him hesitate. But not anymore. He turned to the camera and said clearly, only if she's in it. The crowd gasped lightly. A redemption moment, a twist the tabloids would devour, but for Alara, it wasn't about the cameras anymore. It was about finally being seen as herself, not as an accessory to someone else's success. She smiled politely, stepping into the frame beside him. The cameras clicked. Thank you, Adrian murmured. Don't thank me, she said softly. Just don't forget what it cost to get here. As the lights flashed again, she looked straight into the lens, unflinching. The girl who once stood behind the billionaire was gone. What remained was a woman who had found her own light, one that didn't need permission to shine. The photo of that moment, the billionaire and the woman who wouldn't stay silent, went viral the next morning. Not because of his name, but because of hers. People didn't see a couple, they saw resilience. And for the first time, Adrian understood what real power looked like. It wasn't in money, or image, or silence. It was in truth, and in the courage of someone who refused to be erased. Alara's voice became one of the most influential in the industry, mentoring women and speaking globally. Every speech ended with a single line that echoed the moment that changed her life. Never let someone's whisper make you question your worth. And somewhere, in every audience she spoke to, a man sat quietly, listening, learning the sound of strength he once tried to silence.